Welcome back to NBCLX. I'm Tabitha Lipkin, and let's do just a little bit of Insta creeping real quick. And you got to check out this page. Yeah, give it a follow. Flying Through Life, filled with these inspirational quotes. Let's take this one, for instance. Always take the scenic route. Author is unknown, but this is from Robert DeLaurentis. He is one of my favorite follows on Instagram. Let's see what else he's got on here. Also posting some really great aviation content. And the man behind these posts, he is incredibly interesting as well. As I said, Robert DeLaurentis, he set out on a record-setting, get this, 26,000-mile, 22-country, 6-continent flight to connect to the two places on the planet where there has always been peace. That is the North and the South Poles. And along the way, he interviewed NGO leaders and local residents for an upcoming documentary, Peace Pilot to the Ends of the Earth and Beyond, asking them, what does it mean to be a citizen of the world for the world? And a fun fact, his aircraft is actually named Citizen of the World. And I get the honor, of course, of speaking with a San Diego-based pilot and former naval officer himself about his adventure. First, thank you so much for taking the time to be here, Robert. What an adventure. Let's start, though, with the challenges that you faced on this mission as it stands on its own, but also then when COVID took over the world.
Yes, certainly, Tabitha. It was a challenging flight, flying over the North and South Poles in a plane that's designed to go 6 hours. And the South Pole leg, for example, was 18.1. There was snow blindness, navigation issues, fuel gelling, all kinds of stuff. But when COVID hit, when I was in Spain, it was the height of the pandemic, and it really stopped us in our tracks. But it was a good time, to stop and reflect on what had happened so far over the South Pole. I'd like to say that that leg broke me open for what was to come, and what was to come was the pandemic.
Yeah, indeed. Now, there was a mission behind this madness. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, there was science. Certainly carried an experiment for NASA and the Scripps Institute of Oceanography. We used biofuels for the first time over the poles. But it was very much a peace mission, because at a time when the world is polarized, it seemed right to connect those two poles and everybody in between on this mission of global peace.
And you're such an adventurer, and I am so curious, what was the feeling like when you finally accomplished this mission?
It was really disbelief. It's hard to really take in all these different pieces, because as a pilot, you focus on the leg that you're on. You're in the moment, and then when you finally land, you go, wow, I've got these 22 countries to connect, and all these experiences that I have, what do they all mean? What's the impact? And that actually takes about a year to figure all that out, and that's about the time it'll probably take us to finish off the docuseries and my fourth book by the title Peace Pilot to the Ends of the Earth and Beyond.
Yeah, you do have this docuseries coming out where you kind of go into everything that you've done. Can you give us a little bit more information on what it's like to go to the poles? Now, did you land at the poles themselves, and how do you take back off from there?
Actually, I overflew both poles. For example, the North Pole, there's the magnetic North Pole, the true North Pole, and the North Pole of inaccessibility. And it's basically 5.5 hours at the rate I was flying from any land mass. And this time of the year, it's very soft. I could look down through the clouds and see some water and ice. So it'd be very difficult to land there at this time of the year. Absolutely.
Now, your plane, Citizen of the World, she's not supposed to do this kind of flying, but you made it happen anyway.
Yeah, she's quite a lady. Actually, yesterday in San Diego was Citizen of the World Day, so we're very proud of that. The Turbine Commander 900, the Gulfstream version that I use, we modified in over 50 ways. And she's the farthest, fastest, and longest flying turbine commander in the world right now.
Oh, what a lady. Tell me more about the aviation records that you now hold.
Well, one of them is using biofuels over the North and South Poles for the first time, and we're very proud of that, because our mission of one planet, one people, one plane really ties in with that. We would have liked to have used electric propulsion, but it's just not available, so we used what we had today, which is clean burning biofuels. Also, it's the longest time in the air for a plane in that category, which is the C-1F, and the first polar circumnavigation in that class of plane as well.
Just incredible. Now, you briefly mentioned it, book, docuseries. Is that what you're currently working on and working towards, or what's next in your future?
Yeah, that's what we're working on now. We have a very talented team of cinematographers. And really what the docuseries is about, besides visiting these countries and setting, records in this plane and all the many challenges, was meeting so many different people along the way. So we interviewed people about what it means to be a citizen of the world for the world. And the types of people we interviewed were a dog sled musher in Argentina, a Zulu warrior in South Africa, artists, dancers. And what we found is that no matter who we talked to, everybody valued the same things, which showed us no matter where you go on the planet, the things that people value are love, family, safety, health, security, freedom.
Incredible. And I'm just curious, how many people does your plane hold? Do you have an extra seat in there for future?
I have one extra one for you, Tabitha.
I love to hear that.
Besides that, we had 6 extra fuel tanks for a total of 10. So just to get into the plane, you had to turn sideways to slide by all the tanks and the valves and the HF radio. It wasn't a comfortable place to be, and we had 2 of the 10 fuel tanks burst during the mission, so it smelled very strongly of jet fuel the entire time.
Yeah, you definitely may have been on cloud 9, literally and figuratively with that. Now, finally, as someone as motivated as you are, do you just have any words of wisdom or advice for so many who are going through so much during the pandemic right now?
Sure. When you're flying and things get difficult, you go back to your fundamentals, which are aviate, navigate, and communicate. So for people, though, we found that the fundamentals are the things that connect all people together. And when life gets complicated, if we can just focus on those, compassion, love for our fellow human being, care, and, our desires, our fundamental desires are what matter. Everything else, the things that divide us, like politics, religion, your socioeconomic class, those are not the things that'll bring us together.
Thank you so much for your time, Robert. We really appreciate it.
All right. Thanks so much, Tabitha.